4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. 4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really wanna talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, I'm queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. Babe, hand me a beer.
Hello!
Oh my gosh, we are here.
Welcome.
We're here. Welcome back. It's been a while.
We made it.
It has been a while.
Barely.
Yeah.
Struggle.
We've just been grieving the Golden Bachelor. Tiff and I were just talking. We weren't really big fans of Chalk. So.
Sorry, Chalk.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this conversation today.
Yeah. AJ has thoughts too,
I do
for
have
sure.
thoughts, and it could take up a whole episode.
Yeah.
So probably we should.
We can
skip.
talk about that.
I don't.
You're talking about the AARP Bachelor?
Yeah, it's the
That's
one
the
day
one.
Jake comes home from work and I'm watching it, and I think it was Jonah, and he's like, "What is she watching? Like AARP Bachelor?" And I'm like, "Yep, basically."
Literally. It was great.
It really is great. They're definitely like the younger ones. They're picking off of for sure. Like, I think I'm in love with this person, and then older. There's some of that. Okay,
like, but
for
what's
sure.
the income?
But it's like we're choosing between the doctor and the insurance executive, huh? Interesting.
Who is going
It
to travel
depends.
further?
Oh, nailed it.
That was good.
That was good.
I picked up on that late. Sorry.
I'm just waiting for the Golden Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see them all just
That
fucked up
needs
on
to
a
happen.
beach somewhere.
Wearing thongs and
Stealing,
stuff.
stealing
Yeah,
each
that
other's
sounds
boyfriends
great.
and girlfriends.
Yes, that's what I'm waiting
Yeah,
for.
I
already
like the difference
imagine
in the
them
kissing
thongs, so
techniques
it's fun.
Oh,
from regular
God.
to golden.
I cannot deal with the kisses on either one. I'm just like I can't watch most of the kisses. That grosses me out. I don't know why. I'm just, it's too much sensory overload.
They definitely get in there with the
Is
sound.
it old people kissing that bothers you?
No, all of them. All of them.
I've always said we should just do away with them. I don't
Speaking
know.
of thongs, did anybody else see Mike Tyson's butt?
Yes!
last night?
Yes. The
I feel like it was it
jockstrap
purposeful. It felt
It
like they
had
did it
to
on
have been.
purpose. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
funny. Like, I think he has a really goofy sense of humor. I don't know, but I personally loved it. I was like, yeah!
We laughed pretty hard
Show
here
your
for
butt.
sure. We did.
I thought it was just freaking hilarious and random and, like, not taking himself too seriously.
Yeah.
It was the most
In a very
entertaining
serious
thing.
moment, I loved it. I thought it was so great.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
I don't know if it was great for the kids.
Yeah, he probably wasn't under too much pressure. He probably knew all he had to do was stand there
Yeah, that's right.
and get paid $20 million.
$20 million. I know.
Oh.
Throw me in the ring.
That was
Right?
crazy to watch.
I can stand there and jump around for.
I'll do it for like 200
Yeah. Maybe for free.
Yeah.
just for the exposure for the podcast. you know?
Yeah.
Trying to get it up.
Those girls were freaking badass, though.
Yes.
I could
Oh
not
my
believe
God,
what I was
yeah.
watching. And I agree with the broadcasting crew and the audience that Katie girl was kind of inappropriate. Like, she was cheating. Like, she was headbutting and leaning on the other girl,
that was
Serrano.
wild.
I was not cool with how much she was leaning on her, putting her whole body weight on her.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening?
Not cool.
I don't know. They definitely gave us a show, though. It
Yeah.
was a good one. I
Yeah.
liked it.
It was good.
So what are we talking
good.
about today? Tiff had a good idea.
Ooh, what was it?
Wait, can I pull up my text? I don't know how it started, but just not putting that strain on your kids of being like, you have to go to college, you have to go to trade school, you have to do this, and just letting them be successful in what makes the most sense. And as parents, being honest about what's out there and helping them be accountable. And I mean, you can grow your own success with entrepreneurship and just so many things. And how can we help our kids be successful without being like, this is what you have to be, a doctor,
Right.
or I'm not going to like you anymore.
And that is a very common thing in parenting that I see a lot, is that people really do put that pressure on their kids. When you go to college, when you become this, that, or the other. You know, in my upbringing, it was when you become a mom, you know. The measure of success was me having a bunch of kids. And so I think where we maybe start is, what is success? How do we define that? Is success a paycheck? Is success notoriety or a title? Or in my definition, success is happiness. And so because that's my definition of success, the way I try to set my children up for success is going to be different from someone who views success as a title or notoriety or money. You know?
What's notoriety?
Like to be known
thinking
for something.
Notary public, but I
Notorious.
know that's wrong.
Hey, that's me. I'm a
We
notary.
got one of those.
We
Or
got
like
another-
validation almost, right?
Yeah. Or like just like the being better than everybody kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's like a deeper everything with all of it because, like you were saying, what is success? I think everybody was like, what is success really? If you ask them the question, they'd be like, well, I know it's not really money, or I know it's not this, or whatever. It's happiness. But the problem is we live in a world where it's been designed to put us in a place where happiness is this kind of success. It's getting that education. It's working that specific job or career. It's having that many children or marrying that specific person or finding success within a religion. We've been told our whole lives what success is supposed to be based off of people who have filters from the people in their lives telling them what success was supposed to be. And we grow up, and that's why all of us in our mid to late 30s are like, what are we doing with our lives? Because you followed somebody else's plan for success and not your own. And so I feel like that's what we have a lot of conversations and talk about, and with kids too, like we're trying to open up the door to, we don't know, what success is for you. But that tricky balance on the other side, again, something we've talked about a lot, is how much as a parent are you still trying to influence, because there are natural things that will help you be happier, like taking care of yourself and being kind to people in your life and whatever, and so it's what kind of universal principles are there that we can help our children learn that will help them in their path to success in what they do or feel or are or be to be successful.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about last time with, teaching them, is this fact or is this what I feel? This is what I believe,
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, this is what I think, I think happiness is success, and what does that look like for me? What does that look like for other examples of people that I know? What they do makes them happy, and this is what they do, just kind of guide as best you can. But as far as like, this is what you should do and this is what's going to make you happy, it should just be like, this is what I believe, this is what works for me. Let's figure out together what's going to work for you. Let's try this, let's try that.
Yeah, and I think it's such a small difference between telling or explaining and just sharing. Like if I share with you how I've found happiness and success in my life, or what feels like happiness and success to me, and things that have not helped me find happiness and success, then maybe there are things in there that you can connect to and relate to that will help you. But I'm not telling you this is what you have to do to be successful and to be happy. It's helped me. And I think just in general, that perspective with everything in life, you're received better. You're, like people want to know why you're happy and why you're successful. They don't want to hear you tell them what they need to do to be happy and successful. And I think it's just so much more helpful to go that path and do the share. Like, this is what works for me. Does that work for you? Oh, it doesn't? Then let's see if we can brainstorm something else that does.
I like what you were saying about universal principles, because I think it's less about what am I doing with my life and more how am I doing what I want to do. Like, for instance, the principle of not giving up, the principle of grit, and the principle of courage, of being brave, the principle of not letting other people's opinions of you affect your decisions. The cultivation of self-love, I think, is what is more necessary than pressuring a kid to go to any kind of school system or something. Is like, how do you teach kids to believe in themselves, love themselves, figure out what they love and do it with consistency and courage. That is, for me, what creates success, is figuring out how to do what I love and do it with consistency and with bravery, being really courageous about it. And that is not a linear path. We were taught that success is a linear path. You do this, you do this, you do this, and you will be happy. And we get to our 40s and we're like, this is bullshit. We're lost. This is midlife crisis is very real. And so I think that if we can teach just a foundation of self-love, self-care, courage, bravery, motivation, and consistency, if you can figure out what you love, in my opinion, your passion is literally your purpose on this earth. If you look at the earth, every flower, every bee, every aspect of our planet has purpose. Everything works together. And we're not supposed to be doing what someone else tells us our purpose is. We really have to figure out in our heart, what makes me happy? And then do that with courage and consistency. Really keep showing up to it. And 99% of the people in this world want to be successful, but they're not willing to be consistent or courageous.
Or
You've
work
got to
hard.
be brave. And so the people who are super brave and don't give a fuck what anyone thinks, and they're doing what they love with consistency, are successful, happy.
Yeah. And it's okay to have hiccups and to have like things that are going to make you trip and fall down, as long as you are willing to get back up and keep trying and not be like, ugh, I stumbled. This can't be for me. Like, I have to try something new. I'm going to find something new. Like, if it was that easy to do what you love and make $1 million, everyone on this planet would be millionaires. Like, it's trial and error. It's having, like you said, that grit and that want and the desire to fight for what makes you happy. And it's not going to happen overnight. You have to work hard. And like you said, be consistent.
I think being adaptable to the fact that the world is changing. So, what you were saying about what we were taught, it was such a linear path of what we were supposed to do. I don't think my parents were like, you have to go to college. I don't know. I think I felt the pressure because all my older siblings went to college. And I think I wanted to because, 30 years ago, the people that went to college and graduated were the ones that got really badass jobs at the end. But the world has changed, and now college degrees, like, although you learn a lot, which is great, but now they're a dime a dozen when it comes to, now you're in a whole bunch of debt because of it, and you can't necessarily get a job. But back in the 80s or 70s, if you got a college degree, a bachelor's degree, boom, you're guaranteed to get 60 grand or more a year, or 70 grand or more a year, which is like 200,000 now.
Right.
So, but it's different. The world has changed.
Yeah.
So why would we follow a linear path that might have worked for us, turned out to not work out for us, But the guys that were graduating college in the 80s, it seems like it worked out for them. But I graduated high school in 2000, didn't get my bachelor's degree until 2010, and the good job that I've got now has nothing to do with the fact that I got a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. I still learned a lot. Like, I'm still glad that I did it, but I think it's those experiences, what we learned along the way. Let's explain it all to our kids.
Yeah.
Like, this worked for me. This did not work for me. Just all of it. Even high school, Like, my kids know that ultimately in my life and what I chose as a career, like, I feel like history class gave me zero value to my life. Well, that's my dad's favorite subject. So you think he likes to hear that, like, that history, I don't feel like it impacts my life whatsoever? No, he probably doesn't like to hear that. And I grew up knowing that history was super important to him, But what I teach my kids is, like, math is super, super important to me. You know, I'm constantly doing math in my head. How many minutes is it going to take for this really fast airplane to catch up to this really slow airplane? I've got 2 minutes to figure this out before something goes wrong. You know, and I'm constantly doing math in my head, and that branches out to everything in my life. You know, I think on the podcast I've said percentage this, 20% that, 80% that.
I'm like,
Using numbers again.
But I don't try to preach to my kids that you need to know math, you need to know math, you need to know math, and screw history. Like, I'm just trying to explain to them, this is my experience. Let's figure out what's going to work for you guys.
I love it because it's rooted in what all of this is, which is evolution. Like this is what I think about with this subject and so many other subjects, is that we are creatures of evolution, just like everything else on this planet, but we are more cognitively advanced than everything else on this planet. So they're just in their role, doing their thing, and then as soon as something changes and they're like, oh, this isn't going to work for me anymore, they're ready to shift. They're just like, all right, I'm doing the new thing, because that's
Who's they?
just everything
In
living on this
nature.
planet, outside of human beings. And so we...
Who is they?
Yeah, I don't even know anymore.
So deep.
They
I'm like, I gotta follow what you're saying.
they, us as human beings, what we've learned is that, oh, there's safety in routine, or there's safety in, I've done this, and this, and I'm still alive. I'm still here. And like, even if I don't feel happy all the time or whatever, I'm okay. And so we get trapped in the idea that being in routines and doing the same things over and over again are helpful and good to us because of whatever it might be. And it's the same as like, so where that can apply here is like, it's, for me, it was very difficult because it was nothing I ever thought of to parent children who were younger and then adjust as they got older, you know? And it's different when they're younger. Like if there's someone who's 2 years old, you're going to stop them from touching the stove because you know that's not going to bring them happiness, and you also know that they don't understand that. But when they're 18 and they're going to touch the metaphorical stove, sometimes you got to stand back and let them touch the stove. And for a couple of reasons. One, because they need to learn and figure that out, and they're capable at that age of, doing everything. And then two is that you might be wrong. Like maybe they touch the stove and they're happy, like maybe it's something different than what you thought and believed. We just watched a movie last night that had a cool message about like if you connected with your younger self, kind of a thing. And part of the message was that maybe the older person isn't wise about everything. Maybe like everything you've lived through isn't going to be what's most helpful. It's that attitude and spirit and dreaming you had when you were 18 trying to figure things out, And I really liked that. But just the whole idea of how we need to evolve in everything, not just our physical bodies evolving, I think applies to this and a lot of other things.
Yeah.
The model has evolved too. Like Jake, you were saying, like in the 80s, the model of success was the person who went to college, the lawyer, the doctor, the accountant, whatever. We're like, oh, well, but our kids, the models they have of success so much of the time are like random millionaires on TikTok that just got to be millionaires because they're doing some stupid shit on TikTok. And it's like, when that is your model, it's really hard to figure out, like, I don't even know, but it skews your view of like what success is and what can I do, and then you're probably, even I do it. I compare myself to other TikTokers. What are they doing that I'm not? What do they have that I don't? And when you see somebody who looks like they're, just goofing off and making millions of it just ruins your motivation to want to really work hard for anything. And so it's a mind fuck a little bit for our kids. And for all of us, honestly, is like, and so that's why I go back again and again to the model of do what you love and do it with courage and do it with consistency. That is the equation for success, in my opinion.
I love what you're saying about that, because like when we were kids and younger and you see like a child star on TV or like some kid in high school that made it famous as a singer, it was like inherent to us that like that's not everybody. Like this person caught a break or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
and like
Right.
whatever it is. But you take a 13-year-old and put TikTok in front of them, and they see person after person that's famous and making money and doing all these things, but there are 2 billion people on this app, you know, not all of them are doing that or making it or whatever. And so it skews, it creates, and it's possible. I love it. It's so cool that like everything's changing and there are different ways to figure this out and find success financially or in your career or whatever. But it creates a skewed perspective of how easy that might be to do, you know.
But it is also exciting because we do live in a time where
Yeah.
anybody can be successful doing anything, you know? It's
Yeah,
cool.
Jonah mentioned just the other night, he said something my brother Thomas said to me. Oh, maybe you can just say it. It was something along the lines of, Thomas said, if I had the work ethic that Dad had, I would already be a millionaire or something like that.
That is
And he
true.
wasn't trying to call me dumb.
Right.
He was just trying to call me 43 and not necessarily advanced to the times and possibilities, capabilities of online and content creation and TikTok and Facebook or YouTube, all that stuff, you know. Like, yeah, I grind, you know, I work really hard, but it's a very 43-year-old small-minded work hard. Like, okay, how big can these efforts, if they are completely successful, how big can it really get? How much money can it really make me? How happy can it really make me? Like all those things. But I think that's the point that he was trying to make was just that, you know, with all the online stuff he could do or all the ideas, he's like, if I had that drive,
Yeah.
then
For real.
I would already have millions in the bank.
Tom,
thought it was a
Jonah
cool point.
quoted
Yeah.
Thomas earlier today too. He said, "Nothing I hate more than a bad excuse."
That's right.
But yeah, that's really good. I mean, I think that a work ethic that you have is such an awesome advantage. Like I watch you and I'm in awe of what you accomplish and everything you do and the way that you serve people. I'm always amazed. It blows my mind.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
He's not a waiter.
But it's like,
I say he's a waiter?
maybe
A servant.
those efforts need to be maybe focused more on podcasts or creating music that can be put online or this and that thing. You know, the world is changing, and small town working hard. Yeah, you're gonna be able to make ends meet and take care of your family if you keep on grinding. But how much further than that is it going to take you if that's what you want?
True.
Well, and look at the economy in general anyways, how much longer can that last, you know? Like if everything keeps going up and like if the way this all works keeps changing, then the person who's just putting their head down and working their butt off with the small town grind and whatever to make ends meet is getting worked out. Is that me doing my hands? Is
Getting pushed
getting
out.
pushed out, yeah,
Right.
you know, isn't there as much. And so it's like everything else, it's an evolution. We adapt and we change, and people who don't want to adapt and change tend to struggle, I feel like.
I don't know if I can really bring it back home and tie it in, but it did pop in my mind the other day of, I think it was when we were talking about politics and, but anyway, I was just thinking like, okay, the original, like when the Constitution was written, like, you know, the original 13 colonies, what we talk about the American dream now, like, what is the American dream and what was it originally?
Right.
And it made me think about, you know, like holding a job or starting your own business. You know, was the American dream in the original colonies ever to like be the employee of the local blacksmith?
Right.
Like, no, there's no possible way that was the original plan.
For
it was
sure.
like, come over to America, start your own thing, and figure it out, and you know, start a business basically. Like that had to have been the American dream. Yeah, I already told you I'm terrible with history, but
Life,
what else?
liberty.
What else could the
The pursuit
American
of
dream have
happiness.
been if it wasn't to come here and start your own thing?
Yeah, it's the whole idea of I just forgot the word of it, capitalism, and see how that's evolved too, because capitalism was the American dream back then. Start your own thing, be your own boss, have your own land, do whatever you want to do, and then it's evolved and changed and become something different, and so the American dream can't really be the same anymore. Like it's like it has to adjust and be different. And what is it?
And wasn't it also to escape? I might be mixing this in with Mormonism, but it wasn't it also to escape religious like rules, persecution, or just
to separate
just the
church
rules,
and state.
Yep.
separate church and state, and to avoid the British taxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now look where we are now.
Yes.
Like.
Yeah,
I'm moving to England.
We're
I don't
pretty
know
much
that we're better
expected what to believe
Yeah.
and give us your money.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, what percentage of us are really tackling that American dream?
I think this podcast should just become about the new American dream. We start a cult, hear me out. That's where the money is.
Yeah. Cult time. Jan's like, the best part about leaving the cult is starting your own.
That's great.
I like it.
Yeah, and I think we're trying our best as 4 parents. We're trying to be consistent and brave and do what we love, because kids are gonna do what you do. They are not gonna do what you say. They follow example, and all we can do is try our best to do what we think is a formula that's going to equal success for us, which by my definition is just happiness. And for me, I want to live abundantly. I absolutely want to live. That's part of my happiness, is to live abundantly. I don't want to need or fear for anything,
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that being part of your happiness, but I just think that as parents, whatever we want our children to change in their life, sometimes maybe we need to look at ourselves and say, okay, am I doing these things, and how can I set a better example and show the way a little bit better? And I know I can do better at that, I'm sure, but I do think we're trying to show up and be brave, and I give us all a high five for that.
High five.
High five.
High five.
Oh crap! I can't
Good work,
reach you.
everybody.
Air high five.
High five.
Gotcha.
That was close enough.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. 4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses.
That's right.
Didn't really want to talk about it.
4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really want to talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, some queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction here. 4 parents, 9 kids, 2 houses. Didn't really want to talk about this. 4 parents, 9 kids, some queer. One thing's clear, there's no dysfunction.